So thank you so much for letting me interview you. Could you please just introduce yourself, and that can include your name, your applicable majors and minors, your pre-professional track, and your current school.
I'm Sierra. I'm a sophomore junior at Parsons School of Design, New York City. I'm studying strategic design and management and fashion communications, and I'm hoping to work in the fashion or music industries in some sort of media focus.
So why did you decide to major in the fashion industry?
It's something that I've always had a passion for my entire life. I've always known that I wanted to go into fashion. And I first started out doing design, and then I decided that I didn't want to do design and it wasn't for me. Then I've always been really drawn into media. I started working with photography, and I took a lot of photography courses and a lot of summer intensives and things like that, working on that. And then I decided that I kind of wanted to merge it into general media. So I do a lot of mixed media and a lot of design for communications and for the fashion industry and different pathways through the industry. So it's kind of nice for me because I'm still part of the industry, but I'm not necessarily doing the design portion of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's really cool how you're super passionate about that. Why did you decide to go to Parsons specifically for that?
So I actually went to UAL, the University of the Arts London first. Um, it seemed it's ranked about the same as Parsons. They're both pretty top tier. That's what they're called. It still had a really good reputation. It was a lot more affordable by a long shot, but I didn't like the environment there. It's very cutthroat. If you leave your things out for a little bit, people can go and cut them up and destroy each other's work, and it's very competitive. And I personally really prefer Parsons because it's a very collaborative atmosphere and everyone's very friendly. I think that it's still a really great school. The professors have all been fantastic so far. I think it's just been a really good program overall.
Cool, cool. And are you from New York?
No, so I'm from Chicago originally, but I went to high school in California.
Oh, it's really cool. So, going to school in New York, or going to college, basically out
Mhm.
of state in general, did you have any fears or concerns about going to a completely different school that you were unfamiliar with?
Um, no, I think for me, I've always been very independent. So when I went to London, I kind of adjusted automatically, and I'm very social, so I think it was easy for me to kind of meet people in that regard. But I think I think I had some reservations about going to New York originally because it is a big city. And it's not like London where everything's very spread out and you have a lot of space. It's very crammed together. Um, and I think the fashion industry is kind of a big part of the city there. Um, and there's a lot of schools, and it's a lot of, there's not much community focus, which is a drawback to being in New York, I think, for college. But I also think that it's been really rewarding. You get to be in the city and meet a lot of people. And Parsons's location is really nice because it's right in Greenwich Village, which is kind of like the homier area of the city. So that's been quite nice. We're right next to NYU, so you kind of get that atmosphere from them as well because they're more of a traditional university, whereas our school is more, we're very much a commuter school, and we have 3 different colleges that are part of it, and everyone kind of doesn't, you don't get to know that many people from other colleges. So I think that that's been really interesting for me to uh, kind of adjust to, I think, just because it is a different environment. But I like it so far. I think it's been a really great experience.
No, yeah, it sounds really amazing. Do you have any advice for kids or like high school students basically
Yeah.
who are trying to go into college in a new place in a new environment?
Yeah. I think the first thing that I would say is get to know people on your floor. If you're doing, if you're dorming, I think the biggest thing for me was leaving my door open and just saying hi to like everyone and anyone. Like literally going up and talking to people. I know it's scary, but like that's the best way to like meet people. Join clubs, join like different organizations and things like that. Get to know everyone. Yeah, I think making it more of like a home is the best approach. I found that for me, at least, that was what made me feel the most comfortable, was getting to know people and kind of getting to make my own space as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. That makes complete sense. Um, when do you mind talking a little bit about like your transfer process? Like how is that for
Mhm.
you and the whole submitting application thing again? Like is it a scary process? Were you nervous?
Yeah, so I've transferred twice actually. So I went to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn for my fall semester, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't a good experience for me personally. I didn't think that I flourished as well as much as I do now. I think that it was kind of draining for me to be there. But in terms of the transfer process there, I applied for the photography program since that's what I decided I wanted to do. I got in, I think, immediately, automatically. It was a little iffy because for most schools, you hear back in a couple weeks and not right away. So I just decided to take it, and I was like, okay, this is going to be like a good community of people. It's a smaller campus, you get to know everyone, kind of a thing. Yeah, so I mean, do your research on the school beforehand, because there are a lot of things that I wish I knew now, or that I wish I knew then that I know now from having been there, and I wouldn't have gone there had I known. So I think do your research and then just apply, do the applications. For me, it was pretty easy. They had a pretty straightforward like essay application. You submit photographs, and I heard back right away. But for Parsons, it was a lot more involved because we have our own. So there's the regular application you get for like the college board, things like that. And then there's, yeah, so it's college board. And then there's an application called the Parsons Challenge you do through this program called Slide Room. And for Slide Room, every art school in the country uses it pretty much. So it's, I think you go to whatever the school's name is, .slideroom.com, and it'll pull up the whole application. So you fill out like the questionnaires there, and every school will have different questions, basically saying, why do you want to go here? Why do you want to transfer here? What didn't you like about your old school? That kind of thing. So you'll fill those out, and then Parsons has this thing called the Parsons Challenge, which is a 3-part challenge. So you basically have to, I think this last year it was, you find something like a cause that's important to you, and then you create work based around that, and then you have to submit 3 different portions of art that go along with that. And that's a little different for each program because each major has their own requirements. So I know for mine, I'm doing the BPA, which is Strategic Design and Management right now. So we had a little bit of a different application than someone might have for fashion design, where they have to show an entire like collection portfolio pieces. So I think it kind of depends on your major. And I think that for me was the most intimidating part, not the rest of the application, but just the challenge portion, because they place such a heavy emphasis on that for us, as opposed to most schools. So I think that was kind of big. But it depends, because if you're in an art school, you have to do a completely separate portfolio than someone might have to do for like an academic institution that places it a lot more on like grades and things like that.
No, yeah, for sure. And that's a really cool way that they make it unique for that specific school.
Yeah.
What extracurriculars are you a part of at the moment at Parsons?
Yeah, so I run the Bumble Honey program, which has been a lot of fun. That's been really nice. So we put on events once a month. So it's been really cool to like meet people, connect with people, because everyone brings their friends, and then like we're a really big community campus, so it's really hard to like actually meet people outside of your classes. So that's been really nice for getting to know everyone. And then I'm a part of her campus. So we have her campus board, so I run socials for that, which has been really fun. And then, yeah, those are my two main things at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out what else I want to do because I joined late in the year. So if I were, hopefully for fall, I'll join something else. We're not really sure. Everything's up in the air right now because of COVID. So we don't know if we're on campus or not. So that's been a little stressful, but hoping to join more this next year. I'm joining a few nonprofit boards though for organizations within the city. So I think I'm probably gonna end up spending some time doing that as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that little bit about yourself and what you do. So now I'm going to transition more towards the college application process. And during this, you can talk about the original application process when you were still in high school, or like the transfer one, whichever one you feel is more applicable. So overall, like personally, how did you feel about your college application process? And by that, I just mean like, did you feel prepared for it? Like, did you have resources to go to in case you needed troubles? Like, did your parents help you? Things like that.
Honestly, no. My parents didn't want me going to art school. They didn't want me, especially when I applied to CSM and at UAL. They didn't want me applying out of the country. My school very, very, very much stressed going to community college for everyone. They didn't want people leaving for other schools. I don't know why. It was just a thing. I just remember my college career counselor telling me that like I can't apply out of the country and I have to go to community college. And I was like, well, why? And she's like, well, you have to. I was like, well, that's not how it works. So it was a little intimidating, I think. It was a little stressful in that sense because I had to do it all on my own and I didn't know what I was doing. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos as well that helped, where people showed like, this is how you apply. Here's it step by step. And I think that was helpful for me. We're just kind of figuring it out and pretty resourceful. So that was nice. Yeah, I think the initial process was scarier than the transfer process for me, at least. Just trying to figure it all out in high school, especially. Yeah, and then I think the biggest thing for me was if you do go out of the country, which a lot of people don't, but if you do, or apply to those schools, you have to also apply for a visa. And that takes a lot. You have to go to like several visa appointments and then get like your fingerprints scanned and then do a bunch of interviews and stuff like that. And then do a bunch of phone interviews. And it's kind of a mess, but yeah, I think it's been tricky. It's been definitely like a lot of work to get to this point, but I'm really happy that I'm at the college that I'm at and I'm at the point that I'm at, which is really nice. But yeah.
Yeah, that's like amazing. I'm so happy that like you feel more comfortable at your new
Thanks.
college.
Yeah, no, I was originally going to go to Parsons. Like I looked at Parsons my junior year of high school, and I flew out to New York twice to go look at Parsons. I also visited Parsons Paris because there's a Paris location, like 3 times. So I was looking at those. I honestly should have gone my senior year, but it's a learning experience. So
yeah, for sure, it is a learning experience. Because you transferred, I'm just curious, and I think it would be great help. How did you decide, like, or like, basically, how did you decide that you wanted to transfer? And like, how did you process like narrowing down schools and things like that?
So for me, I think the environment was just not right. I knew from the start, honestly. I moved in to our dorm and automatically people were like doing drugs in the hallways, like cocaine and whatever. And they'd be like throwing parties, and then we had someone break into my like our flat, like our kind of apartment in the dorm. So the second night I moved in, I think, We were all asleep at like 2 a.m. and a group of students from the year before broke into our flat and like threw a giant party and were like smoking and like banging on our doors, screaming and stuff. And then yeah, and then they started like insulting us and things like that. And I was like, this isn't the environment that I want to be in. And I thought it was like a one-time incident, and I thought it would be fine and whatever. The manager of the building was going to handle it, and I was like, okay, fine. No, the rest of the year was like constantly people smoking and drinking and whatever. And the UK has a really different environment, at least for college. So they like everyone just wanted to go clubbing 24/7, and they didn't want to do anything with school. And then even with schoolwork, like our professors would come to class with like vodka bottles, or they'd like be drinking, and they'd like encourage everyone to go like drink some beer like in the middle of classes, whatever. And I was like, this isn't the environment that I want. And I was talking with one of my professors last year, and I was like, this would not happen in the States. We would not allow this like at our schools. And she was like, yeah, the US needs to loosen up. We like to have fun here. This is how we do it here. And I was like, how am I supposed to go to a school and pay money if the professors are encouraging us to like get drunk in the middle of classes? Like it wasn't for me. It's a great school. It is. It's a really good school, but the environment was just not right, personally. And then for Pratt, yeah, I had a really bad roommate situation. That was not ideal. My classes, I could tell the teaching was just not, like, I think the education was worse there, honestly, than my high school. So I just wasn't learning anything the entire time that I was there. And then I had to leave for 2 days because my grandpa had a stroke. So I had to fly back home for 2 days, and my professor told me, she sat me down and she was like, I will make sure that you fail. You will fail my class, and it's a required class. And she was saying, I will make sure that you fail and you're going to flunk out or have to transfer. And overall, the professors were just really bad and just not helpful. They, and the staff there just didn't want to help anyone. It was just not a good experience. So, yeah, I applied my first month, I think, within a month or month and a half of the semester to Parsons. And then when I got in, I accepted it. So I actually joined a sorority there, though, at Pratt, because it's the only art school in the country, I believe, that has sororities, but, or Greek life. Yeah, so I joined the sorority there that I really liked, and then everyone stopped talking to me after I left, after I decided to transfer, which is fine. But, yeah, I think it's just finding what's right for you in a community that you like, because for me, both times I just knew something wasn't right, and it didn't feel like a welcoming, like, nice community. And I feel like at the new school we have a lot more of that community, but also we have 3 schools within our school. So there's Parsons, which is like the design school, and then there's Manus or COPA, which is the College of Performing Arts, and that has like the drama, the theater, has Manus, which is our music school for jazz. And then there's Lang, which is like the liberal arts school. So it's kind of nice because you get a really nice mix of people from like all the different colleges with different backgrounds and things like that. So I think that that's been really good for me. It's just been a lot friendlier, like more welcoming of an environment.
No, yeah, for sure. It seems like you made the right choice transferring and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, one last question. If you could give advice, I know you've been giving like a bunch of advice throughout this video, but if you could give advice to high school students at the moment about the entire college life, college process, what would it be?
I think do your research, like I said before, of where you're going. At least if you're like still applying for schools. Stay overnight and talk to people that went to college or go to college there, and talk to the alumni. Like find out more about the school. Get to meet people, get to know people. And I think that would have been really helpful for me to do, that I just didn't think to even try, because I was looking strictly at like a school's reputation. and I didn't think to actually like get to know more about it before I went. So I
Okay,
think
all
that,
right.
and then if you're already like in college or like entering into college, like if you're starting college this next year or something, make like meet people, just get to know everyone. And I know it's so tricky with like COVID and everything, and everyone's like online. Um, like a lot of us, we started a group chat, and I think that that was really helpful too. So like everyone kind of knew each other before we got on campus, and I think that that was really nice to like actually like make friends. And, like when I got to my dorm, I knew everyone already, so that was really fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing this
Yeah, of
advice, and
course,
thank you for letting me interview you.
of course.